beautiful souls, beautiful, shining, sparkling indigo souls, sensitives and beautiful, vulnerable and glorious. Today, I'm going to hope to convince you that your authentic self is the best authentic self. It is worthy, it is awesome, and I'm going to show you how it is. This is the Indigo Rose Lounge. You're here with Alyce Dylan. All right, lovely. So, something I need to mention, please. I have so many people watching videos on various different platforms, and then they don't like and subscribe and all of that nonsense. And I know sometimes I don't either on other people's. But if you do like the content, please do like it because it helps me to get to more ears and more hearts and hopefully comfort some more souls. This channel is not monetized, so it's not about making money. I just would like to reach more and more people if I can, because we know there are souls out there that are suffering, and we want to bring them some love and comfort and some new perspectives that can help them to forge ahead, knowing that they are special, but in a real way that doesn't involve, aliens and archangels and odd stuff. All right, darlings, so your authentic self. When I was a teenager, I remember being left in a mall somewhere for a period of time, and I ended up wandering around a bookstore, and I picked up this book, and I think it was a Christian book of some sort. It had a dove on the cover. It was blue. It was lovely. But I opened to a page, and just what jumped out for me was the writer was saying, "Have you ever seen a worried bird?" I really thought about that. And as a teenager, I was already that personality type that was a perfectionist in all things. And I used to worry about this and that. The idea that I had never seen a worried bird really struck me. The birds wake up, the worms are there or not, whatever, but they don't seem to stress about it. And one of the reasons for that is because this physical existence, this manifested place, is structured so the birds perform a function. They serve a part of the ecology of a place. They transport seeds from here to there. Some of them even help to pollinate flowers. And we have beautiful birds in this area, and just to watch them go about their business. And they go about their business, and they eat, and they forage, and they sometimes have little barneys with one another, but not mean ones, just sometimes get bossy. And you watch the birds and how they just organically fit into their place. They just do what their birdie thing. They do their birdie thing and all is perfect. And I'm not saying that some of them don't encounter horrible stuff, but they don't ever seem to worry about it. Like most of their focus goes into just performing their function, doing what they need to do, being birds. And so this really got me thinking about, firstly, the idea of faith. Just show up every day and do what you're meant to do, and then just trust that the next step will come. But it's also very much about something we indigos know. We know about. We know how important it is to be our honest, earnest, authentic self. And I know a lot of us in childhood packed away whole suitcases of ourselves. Sometimes there was even a self at a certain age that we threw in the basement, and the intellectual, let's say, self took over because the emotional self seemed to be out of control. And so we stuck the emotional self in the basement, and the intellectual self carried on. The problem with that, however, is unless we are whole, unless we are an aligned mental, emotional, spiritual, physical being, we're never going to feel complete. And not only are we not going to feel complete, but our actions coming from only one aspect of ourselves, our plans and our actions and our planning is never going to be authentic. If I say, yes, I'm being my authentic self, but I'm really only operating from the perspective of my intellectual capacity, then where's my emotional self weighing in? What does my emotional self have to say about this? And remember, as indigos, when we're receiving information from spiritual dimensions or from our spirit self, which is in a higher dimension, frequency, our spirit self is in a higher frequency, which they seem to call dimension. I often wondered, sorry, this is a tangent, but I often wondered what they were on about. 5 dimensions. What on earth are you on about? Well, I think what confused the whole thing was the sci-fi idea of dimensions being like we're one dimension and then magician waves a magic wand and then we step through a portal and now we're in another dimension. And that kind of grayed the whole thing because now I'm thinking 5 dimensions, we're in the 5th dimension. What are you on about, 5 dimensions? Because one stream of thought seemed to be calling it one thing and another stream of thought is calling it another thing. So let's just be really clear and simple about this. I'm talking about levels of frequency. So here we are as human experience. Our human experience is in one layer of frequency, like one layer of the rainbow cake, if you will. We're in one layer of frequency. Above us is the next layer of frequency. And our spirit selves sit up there in this next layer of frequency. And then people in the next world are kind of, just at the end of their frequency above there. So from our spirit selves, we can chat to people in the next world. Okay. Right. So coming back to my original point, here we are having this human experience. But now we're going to be receiving information from our spirit selves. But that information can really only be translated through an aligned self, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So spirit self pumps down information, and the intellect is not going to receive that properly. It's probably just going to interpret that information as noise. Like, oh, I'm tuned to a bad station here, or I'm just off the station. It's only when our physical, emotional, and mental selves are aligned and tuned up that we can have the full experience of translating information being downloaded from the spirit. And just so you really understand what I mean, there are times, I'm sure you've experienced this, when you put together some information and let's say you get it right. Let's say you interpret something right. It's like right on. And your whole body gets goosebumps. You had that? There we go. There's your physical self participating in translation. Or you're receiving information and you see the picture and you get it, and you feel ecstatic. There it is, your emotional self participating in the translation. And just as that that information is being downloaded into your imagination, your intellectual self is helping to interpret that, is helping to make sense of it, and putting it all in lines. And sometimes the intellectual mental self will pull a piece of information from there and something you heard 10 weeks ago and something you picked up on the radio and something someone said when you were a little girl or little boy, and pulls all of this together. So your intellectual self is like the reference library feeding structure to the imagination that is interpreting this downloaded information. Right, so we work as a whole. Our human experience really is a harmony of physical, mental, emotional, all works together. We download this information, we interpret it correctly, we get the goosies because we know we've got this right. There we are. How can you be your authentic self when all of you doesn't participate in that moment? And so, if you have, like many of us, assigned an element of yourself to the basement, and maybe you've done it since childhood, it really might be time to consider the possibility of coaxing your emotional self out of the basement and bringing the joy and the hurt and the sad and whatever else he or she, your 8, 9, 5, 3-year-old, whatever self was blameworthy in your eyes at some point in your childhood. Bring them up, invite them to join you in the present moment, and really reintegrate yourself as a whole being, as a whole human experience. When you do that, when you're able to get to a whole, authentic self, then you are then fulfilling your true purpose in the world, just like the birds. So the birds are getting up every morning. They're not worried about where the worms are coming from. They just know all the seeds will be there. The worms will be there. Whatever it is they need will be there. Why? Because they fulfill their role in the whole ecology, and they trust that the rest of creation will do the same. They just know, and they wake up every morning knowing that that will be true. We can do the same, but only when we're coming from a place of fulfilling our role within our own ecology. And how do we do that? By being our authentic self. There is no one else like you. There was no one else with specifically your purpose and your path. There is something magnificent that you can do with your existence, even if you think that's no way possible. I promise you, you are always somewhere for your benefit or for the benefit of people around you. Always, always, always. There is always purpose in everything that you do. And the more you can tap in to your authentic, holistic, whole self, the more assured you will be. You'll start to really know. You'll feel it. You'll feel in your authentic self, I'm a part of this ecology. This me, this me can fulfill a role here. I have manifested this human experience with all of these pieces to fill a vital role here. And if you reintegrate yourself and you show up whole, you will gain, I promise you, that certainty will be immediate. You will know your purpose. You will know what the way forward is. You will feel it. You will know. You will have the experience of glee and awe and wonder. No. And when we have that, when we know that we're fulfilling our role in the ecology of all things, there's no need left for marketing and clever marketing gimmicks and, fluffed up CVE or a extra special PR campaign to promote our authentic self. Because once you are showing up in your authentic self, those who need what you have will show up. Those who need you will find a way to you. Yeah, sure, it might be a good thing. Stick your head out of the blankets and let everybody know that you've shown up, that you're here. Hey, here I am. But beyond that, your authenticity, your natural truth, your purpose will shine through. Promise. I promise. Just let's reach for that authentic self. When things, and this is true of products as well. Look at it this way. When a product is just good, it's just good. It's just a good thing. Like you've been to a craft market and you've bought this special dairy butter and you go home and it's awesome. And you will make that trip back to that place to find that butter again. They don't have to spend a whole bunch on advertising. They don't have to promote themselves to hell and gone. They just need to show up and do the best thing and offer their best selves, offer their best product. And that is the truly authentic, natural, wholesome way for society to exist. For people to find the good stuff because it is good. Not to have to be sold something every second of every day because actually the product is not good. And so they have to spend billions on the product to get it in front of everybody because really it's not that great. Have you ever found that? The products that we really use, the products that we're prepared to pay for, the products that are good are ones that organically, naturally show up and that we discover them and we want to participate with them. The other ones we might get conned into, but it's usually not with a whole lot of glee. And that's what I mean. If you are a product of your spirit self, if your human experience is the product of your spirit self, then as a whole, authentic product, you won't need to do a whole advertising campaign. If you just show up authentically and follow your bliss, follow what is good and true and yay and yummy for you, there we go. The people who need to find you will find you. You'll go through a healing journey, you'll go through expansion, you'll find beautiful things, you'll learn to stand in the path of love, you will learn to stand in love and just be a part of this beautiful creation. And you'll love every moment of it, and the experience of it will just be fantastic. Let me know if you got there. Let me know if you have managed to harness your authentic self. Or are there parts of you that you've still got locked in the basement, that you haven't been able to integrate, that you at some point became convinced were blameworthy? And if you are not whole, then that's okay. That's okay. We all do this for very good reasons. But now, if you're an adult, which I hope if you're listening to this, you are, you can now take care of you. And it's time to get the team back together. It's time to get all of you back into the same life experience, because once you are whole, once you are truly authentic and whole and all showing up in the present moment, then the struggle falls away, because then you're not trying to sell people a half product as if it were a whole product. I hope that makes sense. I'm using a lot of analogy here today that I hope I'm expressing to you, that as your whole authentic self, you are perfect. I promise you, life gets a lot easier and a lot simpler. And you bring yourself all into the present moment. And then you find out what it is you love. And you pursue that. And then whatever it is that you have to offer the world naturally exudes from you. People find you. The magic happens. It's magical. It is magical and beautiful and love it. All right, dear hearts. So there we go. The vote for your authentic self. I vote yay. I vote yes for your true, authentic, indigo sensitive self. I love that part of you most and best of all. And I think you will love that part of yourself always.